I'm about to feed them to the sharks right now. Get them hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is up. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.
Welcome to episode 73 of the BJJ Campaign podcast. My name is Jeff Boone. I'm an A3 blue belt, 3 stripes.
Phil Coors, A2 blue belt, 2 stripes.
Phil, let's talk about your gi of the future.
Yeah, I thought of it on the ride over here.
Details?
It's a zip-up gi. No more belts. You just use the zipper. Doesn't come undone when you're training.
Is the zipper only halfway up? Because you got to have a way to make grips, right?
It's up to you. You can tie your belt around your armpits if you wanted.
No, this might be the gi of 2022.
I want half, boomer.
It's Tarawadi on so many levels.
Name one.
Well, first off, you got to get a new gi every belt level.
You should be getting a new gi every 3 months.
I mean, that's my thoughts, but most don't do that.
They should. Maybe if they were zippered, they'd be more affordable. So the problem is I couldn't break your lasso grip last night. So I watched a Marcelo Garcia video and remembered what I should have done that I didn't do last night. And I was like, let's see, I'm already wearing the sweet BJJ Campaign hoodie that you can buy on the website. And I was like, he can just use this to make the lasso grip, but it probably wouldn't hold up if I tried to stand up with good posture and lift you off the ground. It might tear my sweet sweatshirt. You know? What if they just made a zip up gi? Then I realized how brilliant it was.
Interesting thought process. And no, it's not brilliant. I don't think it's going to take.
Velcro gi.
Ooh, Velcro could work. I'm not hating the Velcro. So on to a more serious topic, and this was one that was on one of the forums, and that's, this is a tough thing sometimes, and it's how to remain calm while rolling, right? So if you're in a bad position, you may feel claustrophobic. There's many reasons you might not be calm. You might spaz out. You might not know what to do from that position, therefore giving you a little anxiety. A lot of reasons for that. What's something that you do, Phil, to remain calm whenever you're being smashed?
Dominate. So I've actually I never had the issue, but until the last couple weeks, and I think it's related to the fact that I've had a congested, stuffy nose that I've been trying to talk about on the podcast forever. And now I finally can. So because of this congestion, I've been struggling breathing. And I think sometimes, as I've been fighting hard to pass a guard or something like that, and then I'll get swept and end up on the bottom of something, and it's taking me a second to re-catch my breath. And if they got the gi top or something over my face at the same time, it takes me a minute to get my frame back in and get some space. So yeah, that kind of panic happens for a second because I can't seem to catch my breath, which has never happened before. But yeah, usually the panic is only for a second until I realize that
you're not going to die.
I'm going to catch my breath in a second, and then I just kind of think about it, and then as soon as I can get my breath and breathing back to normal, I'm good.
Yeah, I think that's a good example, and a lot of these examples are for people who are just starting out, right? And they get in positions that are unfamiliar to them, therefore they have that anxiety, therefore their heart beats faster, they're using more energy, right? They may be doing unproductive movements to do that. So I think the number one tip that I would give to someone in this is just that, and that's calm down and breathe.
Yeah, focus on the breathing.
Focus on your breathing, right?
Yeah.
and then once you get your breathing under control, and who cares? Maybe, especially if you're a white belt, you're just starting out. Listen, it's okay to tap the freaking out. Mm-hmm. That's okay. There's nothing at all wrong with that. Now, as you go up, and there's other things that you have to do to get better at that. But upper belts all realize that that's claustrophobic, and try to give room in those situations, scenarios, so that they minimize that. And then the room gets less and less as you go up the chain, and as you start getting better and more stripes on your white belt and that sort of thing. But so focus on the breathing, and then focus on making space. And again, that doesn't have to be, you don't have to know a technical escape. You just have to focus on making space around your head, around your neck. And that's going to get you into a better position, at least to where you can think about, all right, now what to do. Or again, you can tap the one or the other. But I think that that's just important whenever, and I get it today whenever, someone's super dominating, and I just don't feel like I can move anywhere. And then I have that maybe 2 seconds of anxiety, and then it's like, oh, well, it's no big deal. Whatever it is, I'm just going to try to make space. And guess what? If they get a dominant position and they go for the finish, they get it, that's okay. I'll tap and reset and go again. But I think that you have to get somewhat comfortable, and more comfortable as you progress through the ranks, of having that lack of space, of having, not that this happens all the time, but having someone give you the muffler treatment, where they cover their face with their hand or their gi or anything of that nature. That's not something that you're going to do in regular training, but just being comfortable in those scenarios and trying to make yourself really develop that strong mindset of, all right, if I can't do something here, I'm just going to get an inch. And if I get an inch, then I'm going to try to get another inch, and just progress that way.
There's a lot of times, I think one thing I had started doing early, just because I couldn't get out, and being smaller, was usually, I never had like the claustrophobic thing. Didn't really bother me a lot. But what I would try to do is just get somewhere where I knew I wasn't going to get out, but I was okay. Not necessarily resting, but maybe surviving or whatever. And I still do a lot with, like, especially knee on belly. Like, I really, really struggle with getting out of that. So what I'll like try to do is position myself so that they still have knee on belly and they're in the dominant position. They have the control, but like, I'll just try to move it so that their pressure's like on my hip bone. So it doesn't like hurt so much, it's uncomfortable. I'm losing, but it's not killing me, and it's like, I can deal with that. Or like in side control of, just kind of making a little bit of frame so that, they're winning, they're on top, but they're not crushing. And then it's kind of like, that's how you kind of can get used to losing or being comfortable, while being uncomfortable, sort of deal. So it's just like, just finding what works for you. I'm sure everybody's different, like, but the knee on belly, like, I really have not figured out a good consistent way to try to get out of that. So I just try to essentially wait it out. It's like, because they're gonna have to move to do something at some point. So I just need to make it not so awful for me for a little bit till he'll transition somewhere that I am more comfortable defending or trying to get out. So that might help.
Yeah, no, I think it's good advice. A couple things, going back to the breathing, it's really important in jiu-jitsu to be able to control your breath, to be able to consistently not hold your breath. I notice a lot of people, when they get in those positions, they hold their breath, and I'll remind them, as John reminded me, breathe. You've got to breathe. And if you need instruction on breathing, go to a yoga class. I mean, that's what they focus on, is breathing. Or look up
Supple Leopard book.
or the Supple Upper book. Yeah,
talks about that.
It does. Or look up Wim Hof method of breathing.
Iceman.
That's it.
Yeah. I lost my thought. No. Yeah. So when I first got into the guard passing thing, I was telling you I was holding my breath when I would stand up because I was trying. I think it has to do with how hard you're trying, but like focus so much I want to do, and I would be like, oh, I'm holding my breath, and not helpful.
It's
I don't know why
not
that's
helpful.
I don't know why that's like a default thing that you do when you try really hard. I don't know why.
And not only is it not helpful, it's exponentially worse because you're actually expending more energy and breathing less. So yeah, I get it.
I don't know where that comes from, but
I get it.
That's one I haven't really noticed other people doing it.
I do all the time.
But I don't think I've ever looked for it, but I did notice, and I think I told you, I was like, I think I'm holding my breath when I was like trying to pass your guard standing, and I was like, what the hell am I doing that for? But
yeah, no, and you might
not realize though. You probably don't realize it for a while that you're doing it, and then that's gonna make the panic.
That's what we're here for,
worse.
To let people realize it, right? So that they know, to breathe. It's very important. Breathing.
You just never think about breathing, but
True.
if you're thinking about it now, you're breathing in.
Yeah, it's weird.
Now you're thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know how to breathe. I forgot how to breathe.
Yeah, now you got to blink.
No, but I think I think those are good suggestions for folks. I think that you just have to find where you can get just a little bit of comfort in a really bad position. Even if it's just a little bit of relief.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many rounds like starting out where it was like, I'm going to be in the bottom, it's just like, how can I survive that and make it a little less terrible every time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Next topic that we've got is something that was sent to me this morning by my buddy, Gary Ansel, who I trained with over the Christmas holiday in West Virginia. And he sent me a BJJ Globetrotters seminar. It was on YouTube. And I forget the gentleman's name who was teaching the seminar. But I'll start with this question for you, Phil. And that is, what determines dominant position in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, and this is something Roland was talking to me about one day and blew my mind, but he told me about controlling the space between the knees and the armpits.
Yeah, it is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So whenever he said that, you kind of like, once he gave examples, you're kind of like, oh yeah, I get that. And so it goes along with the concepts that we learned, because he pointed out that what we're doing, and that is predicament and solution training, right? Instead of that conceptual training. He said, he gave the example of, boxers, they have maybe 5 punches, and it comes down to they get hit if they don't keep their hands up in front of their face, right? So that's always the answer to, why'd you get hit? Well, because your hands were down. Well, why were your hands down, right? Because sometimes you're doing offense or any other things. But to simplify it to that one simplest concept of having space between your knees and your elbows. And then he used another example of wrestlers. He was like, there's not 1,000 moves in wrestling. If you look at the highest level, there's maybe 10 or 15 moves that they're doing in freestyle wrestling. It's not, and that's probably on the outskirts. The top level, they're doing like 5 moves, and it's all concepts of where their base is, right? Which is why it's a benefit for grappling, for jiu-jitsu, if you've done wrestling before, because you already have a concept of what your base is, right? And so this predicament solution training, while it's important to have that concept of, if you just keep your knees and elbows together in bad situations. Let's take, for example, guard passing, right? If you get to, never forget Steve Hall in the seminar, it may have been a year and a half ago, one of the best seminars because it was really simple and it was really effective. And that was, he pointed out the concept of not giving up that, and the earlier you make the frames away from you, the less likely it is that they are to pass. Right. So in making those frames, whenever someone's passing your guard, you're extending your arms, right? But when you extend your arms, you're also bringing your knees in. So you're effectively bringing your arms and your knees together, elbows and your knees together while creating that space. Right. So I thought it was just a really interesting concept. And also he pointed out that the same thing in half guard. You know, whenever your knees and elbows get separated, that smash half guard, it's a terrible position to be in, right? They are almost winning because they've almost got that control of your hips. And if they bring that knee in and over your belt line, then they're probably going to pass that and gain that control. Thoughts?
It's a great concept. It makes a lot of sense.
Are you now saying that you'd like to be a conceptual learner, Phil?
It would be easier. I just don't see it picks up that way. I need the steps, and then later on, I invent the concept myself. You know what I mean?
It's a brand new concept.
Yeah. I invent each one at a time.
There are new concepts.
About every 6 months, I come up with something brand new. Then I can't wait to tell you.
At least 80% of those we've already discussed
multiple times.
You know, and I do want to say that this type of concept, this isn't for a self-defense situation, right? You're not going to get your knees to the elbows if you're in a self-defense situation. This is a competitive grappling situation where you're just doing grappling. There's no outside things, and there's no, you're not on the street, you're not getting attacked or anything of that nature, because nobody wants to put their knees near their elbows when they're getting attacked. That's not really going to help. But again, what we're talking about conceptually is something that helps you in the context of grappling and jiu-jitsu, not for self-defense. So what other concepts do you subscribe to that you just made up and invented?
Get past the legs.
That's your concept?
Yeah, don't let them touch you with the legs. Get past the legs.
What do you mean?
Passing the guard.
So keep their feet off of you?
Just get past them altogether. No legs.
That's how you...
No legs.
All right, well...
I'm going to make you Lieutenant Dan. No, it's funny. We were kind of talking about it before. I seem to want to learn everything the hard way, or like individual steps and everything, and then come back. But when I'm talking to somebody that's brand new and they're like, what do you do while you're rolling? So you can't give them all that information. So if it's like a guard passing drill, it's just get past his legs. So that simple idea that I try to make easy for everybody else, I refuse to accept that information that way.
You have to have predicament solutions.
I have a rhino brain.
Yeah.
It's very protected. Nothing gets in there. So
over 100 posts on Instagram with hashtag Rhino Guard.
We're going to take that over. It won't take long.
Definitely.
Like 3 or 4 months.
Everybody post your pictures out there on Instagram and hashtag Rhino Guard, please.
Yeah. Apparently it's like a kayak case and like a bumper for a Jeep or something. So we'll take it over.
That's great. So some of the concepts further that I like are just general concepts of grappling altogether, and they come from I mentioned it last episode, that Zen Jiu-Jitsu book. Whenever I first read it, it made sense to me, and that's the hierarchy of what you establish whenever you're grappling to get the control that you want. So, it starts out with grips. So obviously whenever you're grappling, in order to do something, to do a move, to set something up, you have to set up your grips, right? And then you go to position. If you're going to, do, say, a scissor sweep, you have to shrimp out, get your legs in the correct position, right? And then it's the submission or defense or sweep portion of it. So without those first two things in that triumvirate, you're not going to be able to get that third thing.
What's the best grip?
Any grip. Any grip's the best grip.
But which one's the best?
Depends on what you're doing.
Well, see, that's always my question, though. Is like, what grip do I make?
So if you're doing a flower sweep, the grip on the sleeve, pulling it up and across, is the best grip to have, and then the grip on the pants if you can get it. I mean, it's different for each situation, but
yeah, but see, so that's what I always struggle with. Is like, that's my question. Is like, I don't know how to make grips, and I'm always losing that grip fight. What's the best grip? So, been watching a lot of videos, right? The answer is generally that I'm noticing. It's fun. Like, it sounds really stupid. It's like, don't let him do what he wants to do.
Marcelo Garcia, more
so
gyms.
Like that's kind of what it keeps coming down to. Is if he's grabbing you, it's probably for a reason. He's probably trying to set you up. He's probably trying to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let him do that, right? So the flower sweep, I've had luck explaining people. It took me a long time. Same idea with the scissor sweep. So the scissor sweep is the one that I focused on for a long time. I'll like get that first grip because I know in steps it's important to make the grip on the sleeve or wrist and then on the collar and then shrimp, scissor your legs, right?
Yeah.
So people will try to do it and it won't work, and I'll post my hand to defend it. And obviously people would be doing that to me as well. So when I see them do that, and I'll be like, do you know why it didn't work? And they kind of don't. And it's, well, you let me post my hand. So you did the step right of you got the sleeve like you're supposed to, but then you kind of forget about that step later when the whole point of grabbing the sleeve is so I can't post my hand. So it's the why are you doing it, and don't let the person do what they want to do. When they want to put their hand down, you can't let them. So my concept is just do everything you want to do and win all the time. That's a very simple concept. I've heard jiu-jitsu is simple but not easy, so I think that's. But it says the same thing.
There's a lot of validity. I mean, I think there's a lot of validity to that. Whenever you've got to, and two, there's a lot of validity in the opposite, which is if you establish your grips earlier, then they're going to be on the defensive immediately, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just reversed. And
we were talking yesterday from the same line of thinking, and he's like, don't let him reach in. Don't let him pass your wrist. Don't let him make a grip. If he makes a grip, it's easier to break the grip early before he like locks it in. If as soon as he grabs, if you can pull it off. But if he really, really has a good grip on there, and it kind of goes back to the self-defense idea. The same thing is like, who's most likely going to grab you? It's going to be somebody bigger and stronger. So,
sure.
And he gets the thing that John was doing recently that I've never noticed before, is moving the chest back at the same time you're breaking the grip. Because every time you ask how to break a grip, they say, grab and it goes out the way it came in and you push away. But my two arms a lot of times aren't as strong as one bigger guy's arm gripping on to the collar. So, the moving the chest back at the same time to use more muscles against the grip. But again, don't let him make the grip. Or if he does make it, defend it early, and there's all the steps down the road to defending that grip.
Mm-hmm. And people are at home are saying, well, so then all you're doing is grip fighting? You're just fighting the grips? That's all you're doing?
What do you mean?
So if they make it, because if someone's on bottom, they're going to make grips, right? Mm-hmm. The answer is yeah. I mean, grip fighting is a super important part of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Well, and again, that's why I'm saying, like, what is the best grip? And I get, there always is a best grip, but it depends. I don't know. That's why it's hard for me to figure it out. And then, like, to be working on guard passing so much all the time, and then to just watch him simply say in a video at one point is like, I come in and I try to do this right away. I don't make grips, because if I have time to make grips and he has time to make grips, and then he's going to have the grip that's going to stop it. So there's a way to deal with every individual grip. But what if they don't make them? So I don't know. It's just, it seems to be like one of the more difficult, other than the cross choke from the mount, hardest move in jiu-jitsu. the grip biting is like is one of the hardest things to understand, because all right, how do you get out of side control? Don't let him pass the guard. So it's always like, stop sucking earlier. Like you've sucked for too long. Now it's hard, so that's the first thing. So yeah, that's an interesting concept. That when they say in the book, you're kind of like, yeah, okay. But the more you're tracing the steps back, it's like, why did you lose? And like, I saw a cool thing finally for dealing with when you have the ankle sweep, you're go out this way, kick out, versus just try to fight against the sweep, which is my typical reaction, is always late. Because that's the problem I see.
Describe the ankle sweep that you just demonstrated for me.
That's a sick demonstration. So when people would go for like a double ankle sweep, I stand up in the closed guard, they grab my heels and kind of put their knees together and bump me down. I would typically just kind of see this coming, try to kind of move my hips away so that it takes some of the force out. If I do get knocked over, I tend to then turn my hand into a stiff arm and just try to get up first. Because that was the problem I could see. My problem is I'm falling, not that they've had the grips and controlled the situation the entire time. My problem is I'm falling. So I just need to get up. Problem solved. He shows it that when they grab the heel, you just kick your leg forward, because that's where the open part of the hand is. Again, mind blowing. So you just kick your leg forward, then they can't even sweep you in the first place. So I think it's just a matter of time before I retrace most of my problems back to the grip. And once I can figure that out, it should be much easier. Just
it feels like you're figuring it out right now, Phil.
Stop letting them do stuff they want to do and do the stuff that you want to do. Very simple. Very simple.
It's a great concept.
Yeah.
Fantastic concept. Very enlightening. I appreciate that.
Yeah. 6 hours of YouTube. Then I invented the concept. Stop letting them do what they want to do.
Oh gosh. So another, in the last one that I'm going to highlight is, if you want to defend something, then you have to make distance, right? If you want to submit someone or control someone, you have to close that distance, right? I mean, it applies in stand up. It applies in all the scenarios of grappling. Is you're always, if you're trying to escape something, you're always trying to make an amount of distance so that you can either get your elbow in, get your knee in, get anything. And I think that's it is a concept that whenever I'm at a loss in a position, that's what I try to think of, because it's really the simplest concept, for me, in that situation. Even if it's, I'm attacking and I forget that situation and I'm like, all right, what do I do next? Oh, well, more than likely I'm going to need to just close the distance or tighten what I've got. Right.
Give an example.
An example of for defense is if you're caught on the bottom of side control or cross side, being able to get your frames in, because if they're, if they've got that really good side control where they're smashing you, you have to first create the distance of pulling on their shoulder, right? To get a little bit of room, right? Mm-hmm. Then next you have to do the bump and put your elbow up over their head so that you can get a frame in to get a little bit more distance, mm-hmm. right? And then you put your hand on above the hip framing so that you don't wrist lock yourself. And then you get your knee in. All of that is trying to accomplish getting distance for your defense, mm-hmm. right? Whereas conversely, if I'm on top, I'm trying to prevent that distance. I'm trying to keep that I'm trying to close that distance that I have so that I can move to a more dominant position or do a submission from that side control position.
It sounds to me like you're just rewording the first two concepts we just covered.
But it's the simplest way to do it. That's the simplest. Those first two concepts, that's not as simple. I don't think.
They're exactly the same. You're getting the space back. You're not letting him in between the knees and the armpits.
So you're saying there's only one concept in all of jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, do it right.
Okay, I'll buy it.
And then the second one is don't let them do what they want to do. So they're trying to smash your face down and take away all the space. So you're pulling back on the space. Those are the same two concepts.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Here's the fourth concept that's exactly the same.
What?
Keep your elbows in. I'm terrible at that.
You are terrible at that.
I did that like from side control to like knee on belly transition again last night with John. And I think this is the second or third time he's done this, but I finally realized what's going on. Because he just rolls away, but he takes my elbow with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, was that because I popped up and kept my hand on the ground? He's like, no, you just got too far away. Like you extended your arm too much.
Yeah.
And my elbow just is nowhere near me, so far away here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. And try to see if I can remember to do that.
Be a good idea. Keep those elbows in. What do they say? Keep your friends
Keep
close.
your enemies close.
And your enemies close and your elbows closer.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, listen,
I think those are just such broad concepts that you can just apply them anywhere. It's kind of how I was messing with you there. Distance is a super important concept. Self-defense, grappling, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's all Ryan talks about. Base.
Yeah.
Base.
Yeah.
What position? Dropping base.
Yeah.
And base and distance are Ryan's biggest concepts.
Yeah. No, I agree. And they're important. It's important to think of and just making it just kind of simplifying it in your own head. It helps when you're in a bad spot or you're in a good spot looking to get better.
I guess one other concept now that we're talking about is when Ryan was talking about base. I don't know how many times you'd point at me and be like, look at how you're standing. Do you think that would be how you do the move? Like, and my leg is like out, 4,000 feet away from me.
And your hips turn.
It looks like I'm stretching.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is where I want to lift the guy. Just like this.
Where I have the least amount of power.
Like, I want to make sure half of me buckles when I try to pick him up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So pointing out, how are you standing or like, posture, base, whatever. Same.
And base super important in any of the stand-up self-defense stuff, right? Even whenever you're doing the pull, the push, all that stuff requires you to have a good base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So agreed.
Yeah.
He's right. As always. Let's talk about something that happens every so often, and that is some nights are just not your nights.
Yeah.
So when you have bad nights, what you do? Just quit?
I just unzip my gi and just get back out there tomorrow. So last night I sucked. Terrible. So I stood up and like I said, John rolled me. Not that anything ever is going to work against him. I couldn't remember the lasso posture deal that I was supposed to do with you. Mm-hmm. And I tried it with a couple other people. I still couldn't remember. I got heel hooked. I mean, everything was terrible last night. Just nothing was going right.
Heel hooked in the gi.
Yeah. A terrible night. So I don't really care anymore. I think the bad night when I'm training or drilling, kind of sucks because then I feel like I'm affecting someone else. But I've been keeping track of the rounds as was suggested and trying to make little notes here and there of what I think is important. Like I'm not making a note about every night or like jotting notes down about what's happening. Just if I think something comes up that's important, I'd put it down. So
you're not like, I got a sweet reversal on such and such.
No. So, but I noticed last night, I said did terrible a couple nights ago or a week. So basically twice this month, I've now put something along the lines of I sucked. Yeah. So on the 10th, it did not go well for me was written down. And last night did terrible. leg circle from ankle grip. That is as I remembered that leg kick out thing. But and then I put like missing control, transitioning from rear naked choke to loose back control that I cleaned up in a video, figured out what I was doing wrong. So there's just little notes that I'll put in. So 3 times for the however many times I rolled. But 2 of them did terrible. So I nailed it the rest of the time. I don't know. I don't really care that much. I kind of feel like I'm going to do bad sometimes, and it's not the end of the world, but I think the fact that I know I'm going to do it the next day kind of takes a lot of the sting out of it. I mean, it's not like when I suck in a competition and then I got to wait like a month before I can do it again.
Yeah. No, that's a good attitude to have, because listen, there's going to be nights, and if you don't embrace that suck of jiu-jitsu, man, it's going to be really hard to get better at jiu-jitsu, because there's a lot of nights, where you'll be trying something new, and guess what? You're going to suck at it, because it's not something that you do all the time.
Yeah.
And, we all have those days, those nights, and not to let that experience kind of bleed into a mindset and dictate, hey, if you're in a good mood or a bad mood, because guess what? You're out there doing jiu-jitsu, getting better, even if you did suck that night, and it's going to get better and better each night you show up and each night you suck. And so, I don't know. I think that a lot of people tie that success in being able to control someone. I think it's important. That's important to do on your regular roles, right? It's important to be able to have an A game, but also it's really important to be practicing other things that you're not so good at and go ahead.
It's funny you mentioned the A game. I thought I had this whole A game thing figured out, and then I was like, my A game is stupid. So I totally changed what it should be, and now I'm trying to figure out a new one because my A game is dumb, and I don't want that to be the A game.
What was the A game?
The closed guard. That was stupid. It's terrible position.
It's terrible A game.
Yeah, I thought it was.
But here's the thing.
It could be.
And
but
I thought about this the other day too, because it's going to be so funny in like 3 or 4 years,
weeks,
whenever it might be weeks, whenever we're like, God, the closed guard is so cool to be able to do this.
Yeah,
we're going to come right back. It's going to come,
it's going to circle right back to
and
it.
And then we're going to look and be like, is that episode 73 where we mentioned that closed guard sucked and it's stupid?
Yeah,
it's not. It's not, everybody out there. It's not it's stupid. It's just we're not there right now. We're not there, and like so just an example of I always try to incorporate whenever we're doing lessons, and usually after our fundamentals or after our advanced class, we start in those positions. So guess what? I'm usually going to try those things, and some days it's positions that I really like, and I'm somewhat adequate at, and some days it's things that I don't do, like what we did the other day with the passing and the combat base, which I am terrible at, and I realize it. Like I realize that I have to get better at that, and getting in that position and just being terribly uncomfortable and being bad at it, it's good. I mean, it's good. It's good to see, all right, yeah, I get my elbows out. They're going to put their arms in, and there's no freaking way I'm going to pass now.
I'm surprised you don't like that position because it's so close to the half guard pass.
I've been shocked myself, Phil.
Yeah.
But it's just I haven't spent enough time in it, and now I'm starting to spend that time.
It's too much pressure. You'd just rather be out there frolicking around the outside.
I'm an outside guard passer, Phil. I think we've established that with my nimbleness and my quickness. That's what I do. It's definitely not what I should be doing, but you know what? That's okay. I'm not going to tie my success or failure in a role to my feelings about jiu-jitsu. It's because it's counterproductive. You know, it's just, it doesn't make sense. You know, it's great. What if someone that's, you know, not as good as you taps you out? Happens all the time, right? Who cares? What if you're not taking a risk in training, then you don't know when to take a risk or have that timing in a competition. So I don't know. That's all I have to say about bad nights.
Yeah, I don't know. You're supposed to suck. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I always think I'm gonna suck.
Yeah, we got it down.
I do get frustrated when I think I know something or I know better, and then it happens again. It takes me a long time to realize that I should know better, but once I figure it out, it gets really annoying. I don't like that.
You're like a rabid dog once you figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, again, just like I couldn't break the lasso grip. That was frustrating. Like, I don't care that you swept me. That happens.
All the time.
I know I'm supposed to be doing something and I can't remember what I'm supposed to do. And then I watch it and I'm like, that's just stupid. Like, I don't know how to remember that. But yeah, I don't know. But it's like, I'm going to go tonight and I'll be real pissed if I forget it now. But, you know, I'll probably figure it out.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, I feel like we saved the best for last here. Mm-hmm. And this is what the fans have been wanting. Yeah. Fans.
We kept them glued to the podcast for this one.
It's the Gordon Ryan update.
There it is. We need a like a dun-dun-dun, like
yeah, a little
noise for you.
Yeah. Should.
Alert.
We'll use part of the intro song for it. That'll be good. So Gordon Ryan is going up against Tex Johnson in Substars.
Oh.
And I guess that's part of that Third Coast Grappling. I guess that's one of his, I don't know.
Okay.
Is it? I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know. Not
the right person.
I don't think it is. But anyway.
We come to you for the updates.
That's true. That is true. I'll get more details on that. But he's posting on Instagram and it's hilarious because it's really just a big troll. Right. And he was posted a link of Craig Jones submitting Tex Johnson and he put on there, you know, Craig Jones taking care of my light work versus an alcoholic. You know, of course it gets several hundred comments and all that. And that's what he wants, right? I mean, that's why they're paying him $100,000 for matches, for 5 matches, because they know they're going to get that clickbait, right? I mean, that's just what it is. And so he then proceeds to say that he doesn't care how fast he submits Tex Johnson, that he just wants to put his knee on his face for a good couple minutes to make him miserable.
Okay. You got to challenge yourself. Change up the challenges. I think people are just like reverse trolling him now, because I saw a comment I think the other day where they were like, they asked him, what do you think about the fact that, or how do you think jiu-jitsu people would do against like somebody like a catch wrestler who's known for footlocks? And then he defends it with saying he beat Josh Barnett or something like that in under 2 minutes or something like that. Submitted him.
I haven't seen that one.
It's not a post. It's a comment.
No, I know, but I haven't seen that match.
That match, I don't know. But it's just funny because like he's known for the leg locks, and then somebody's like, "How do you think?"
Oh, I'm sure it's reverse trolling.
But he answers it, and it's like, I'm pretty sure that guy's, you know,
yeah.
It's a never-ending cycle.
He spends a lot of time in the comments.
Yeah, he must be like in the sauna or something, just replying.
I'm sure he is. Yeah, I'm sure he is. And any updates on any of the new positional stuff that we're doing, Phil, what we're on right now?
Just trying to pass the guard.
That's all we're trying to do, folks. Just trying to get good at that.
Yeah, I should not let you make the lasso grip.
That's correct. Again, with your concept, don't let me do what I want to do.
See how fast I realized that? About 45 minutes later. Yeah.
But now it's in your head.
Yeah, it's got there.
Yeah. Now it's in your head.
Figure out how to break it later.
Yeah. And just an FYI, the upcoming role model camp is May 1st through 3rd. It's an all-women's camp. And an Andre Galval black belt, Nikki Sullivan, will be there, as well as many, many other black belt instructors. If you have the coupon code BJJ Campaign, you'll get 10% off of registration. So get in there. Ladies, check it out. Highly recommend it. James and AJ Klingerman putting that on, and they're awesome people. And AJ really plans far in advance for this stuff to really try to make it the best experience for the people who come. And I think she's going to do just that. So very important. How else can the folks support us if they choose to do so, Philly?
Buy a Zip Up Gi sweatshirt. Rash guards are very comfortable. T-shirt, patches. BJJ Campaign Podcast.com. Join the Facebook group. There's a bunch of memes in there. Instagram, we post Rhino Guard instructionals, and we try to do more jiu-jitsu on there.
Use hashtag do more jiu-jitsu, hashtag Rhino Guard. Boom. And our following is increasing. 220 now, Philly.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah. It's not.
It's worldwide.
And leave us a review if you can. Share this episode with your friends, because more than likely, if you're listening to this episode, you have friends who do jiu-jitsu. Share it with them. Maybe they'll like it. Probably they won't. It's okay. And also, if you're not out there doing something to make yourself better each and every day, get out there and do it. Phil and I choose jiu-jitsu. We hope you do too.
I'm about to feed him to the sharks right now. Get him hype right now. Yeah. You know the ground is our ocean. Yeah. Everybody that trains, you know the game. Yeah. So let's get it. Slap it up, bump it, and roll. Hey. Yeah, that's the way that it goes. Ain't no better way to better yourself in this game. You're feeling the growth. That's time on the mat. We put in the work. Believe it ain't easy, I know. But we train for the love of the game, the love of the art. Now slap it up, bump it, let's roll.